Hey there, you're listening to the Not So Breakfast Show with Sasha and Ish. Alright, you're listening to the Not So Breakfast Show today, and this is the one about getting out of a funk. How do we shift our focus, move our motivation when we're starting to get into that negative rabbit hole? Also, during this episode, we've got bedroom confessions.
Do you have a TV in your bedroom?
Yes, we definitely have a TV.
So superiority comes now to Sasha and Chris.
But we don't watch it at night though. We only watch it in the morning when we're watching.
Praise be.
Praise be. And as always, we keep it topical.
This is the future of television. Give us this. And then Squid Game comes out and smashes every single record in history. And it's clear that what society wants is just a program where nearly everybody dies.
Yeah. All right, that's the show. Let's get it. Alright, thank you for joining us on the Not So Breakfast Show today, and you are listening to the one about getting out of a funk. And right now I think I should also go dum 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 dum, because that may be the ultimate funk song. Do you think I'm wrong there, Sash?
I do love that funk song. Love me some funk.
And it's a really good topic because, let's face it, you came to me the other day and you said, I'm flat. In fact, it wasn't the other day, it was today, wasn't it?
It was today.
It was today.
It was like 5 minutes ago.
I'm flat. I'm like, I've got nothing right now. And we just thought, what a great time to actually have a chat about getting out of a funk. Because it happens more than you think, but it seems to happen a lot at the moment specifically.
Yeah, I think being in the middle of this kind of COVID uncertainty, and we're all just coming to the end of ourselves, right? All of our tricks and techniques and things that we've done to keep ourselves up and buoyant. Certainly mine ran out yesterday and I was still flat this morning, and I just said to you, I need to unfunk myself. And there are some things that we can all do to help ourselves when we are feeling like we've just had enough and we've come to the end of all our natural resource.
Yeah. And we've kind of got, went away and did a little bit of prep separately, and we've got some ideas of how we can kind of get ourselves out of a funk.
I mean, it's not often we prep. This is exciting.
Oh,
just lower your expectations,
Sasha,
people.
We've been working our whole lives prepping for these off-the-cuff conversations.
Well, funnily enough, today, and this will date this entire episode, is Facebook and Instagram crashed.
Yeah.
So they went offline. That meant Messenger went offline. So everybody that's doing just research into the COVID vaccines using Facebook and Instagram will not be able to research anymore. So when you and I went away and did research today, it did not involve those social media giants. So this is like real research.
One of the things that you said to me that was quite interesting is you were having a conversation with a friend of yours and you were kind of saying, look, I'm feeling flat. And they just said, Sash, you're tired. That outside perspective looking at the issue was different to maybe what you were seeing the issue as. And I thought that might be a really interesting place to start, is if you're feeling a certain way, can we just get someone else's perspective on it rather than maybe trying to figure it out ourselves? Because sometimes they can see things that we just can't see, right?
It's such a fine line, isn't it, between have the self-awareness, trust yourself, all of your feelings are valid, no one can take your feelings away from you, you are feeling what you are feeling, versus is there something that might explain the feeling that you haven't thought of? So I was saying to her, I'm just so flat, I feel like I've been run over by a bus, I've got nothing left to give, my cup is empty. And she said, oh, you look really tired. You're really tired. And I suddenly found myself responding like a toddler when the toddler says, you know, mum says you're tired and you need to go to bed, and the toddler goes, I'm not tired, I'm hungry, or I'm not tired. And I felt that rising up within me. I was going, I'm not tired, I've been sleeping really well. And as soon as she said it, you're really tired, it wasn't to invalidate my feelings of being low. It was just to help me say, before you catastrophize what this means, just pause and ask yourself, do you need some sleep, babe? Do you need some sleep? Do you need some rest?
Yeah, because if you just keep charging on, And if you're in that kind of mindset, it often doesn't get better. It often gets worse. So I remember earlier this year, I started to get into a bit of a funk, and I just couldn't get happy, and I just couldn't get any satisfaction out of anything. But it was really, I just had this feeling of sadness. And I just couldn't get happy. And I've got some friends that I will often reach out to and have a chat to, but it felt more than that. It just felt like it was just repeating. And so I kind of went through, should I talk to a friend? Should I maybe talk to a coach or someone who knows what they're doing? Or should I just get some therapy? And I just chose to get some therapy. And I think even that self-awareness to just go, actually, this is bigger than I can get myself out of, or a friend can get me out of it. And it was just one session. And I just went in and I just talked, and they just asked me some questions. And one, it was a little bit of validation. They go, well, of course you're feeling a bit like that at the moment. This is everything that's been going on for you. And just being able to talk through that was so helpful. And I walked out and I went, actually, I feel a bit better.
Actually, I'm happy now.
Yeah. And it was more that I'd done something about it, but also they just reminded me of some tools. And I was like, of course I can do that, and just kind of pointed some behaviors out or patterns that I've been running again, and stuff that I just couldn't even see at the time. And it was, it's just, I just find it really helpful. I just find that stuff really useful.
So we're talking about unfunking yourself, right? And it's having that self-awareness to go, is this more than just a regular period of flatness, and do I need some expertise? Or is this something that I can manage myself, but I still need to take some positive steps? And if you are in doubt, then we would love you to get expert help around that. And we acknowledge that not everybody can instantly access that. And that's where having friends that tell you look like a piece of shit, you're really tired, is actually helpful.
Yeah.
Actually really helpful.
So one of the statements that I've often heard and I find useful is that this too will pass, that it won't always be like this. You can do something about it, or situations will change.
Oh, that's the whole beauty of trusting perspective, right? And I think, probably our biggest experience of this is perhaps when we have teenage heartache, when we have our first love and our first relationship and it ends badly, and you have this kind of crushing weight on your soul, and you feel like you're going to feel like this for the rest of your life, that there's no way out of this. And of course you look back with the power of hindsight and go, wow, who was that kid that was crying in the corner, right? Get up and run while your knees still work. Youth is wasted on the young and all of that. But it gives us that insight. The irony is, of course, every time we feel that new crushing weight or flatness or sadness, we forget the last time that we got through it. And so I think the idea of saying, the trust that this will pass, that our feelings are never permanent. That's one of the ways we can unfunk ourselves. And when I was having this moment yesterday where I was just like, oh, I just want everything to stop. I just want everything to stop, and that would be great. I could also in that moment go, you won't always feel like this. You just have to get to the next moment in time to allow this feeling to pass. And so, for me, it's, people talk about it's one more breath, it's one more day, it's one more hour, it's one more. And that's the only obligation you have to yourself and to those around you, is to do one more thing in the pursuit of getting a bit better, of unfunking yourself. It's not about fixing everything all at once.
Yeah. And when it's raining outside and it's cloudy, the sun is still shining. Like, I love it when you take off in a plane and you go up, the sun, it's just there. You were just thinking, man, half an hour ago it was dumping down around its cloud. But the situation is, and the reality is, the sun is always there and the sky is always blue. You just can't see it.
I love that you've identified that, because that's happened a couple of times to me in the last 3 or 4 months. I've been flying in this bloody Hamilton to Christchurch flight, and it's been miserable, exactly as you described it, and we've gone up above the clouds, and I've wanted to ring everybody back down on earth and go, guys, I'm sorry you're having such a shit time, because up here, and that's just that power of it's real that it's cloudy at that time, but it's not permanent, right? It's not a permanent cloud. What's that, who sings that song? I'm going to sing it really badly now. It's like a song from the 80s. I want to say it's like Ultravox or something like that, where it goes, things can only get better, can only get better. Do you recognise it or not at all?
I do know that song, and I'm just impressed with the fact that you use Ultravox. I haven't heard about that band in years.
I wonder if it was them. This is knowable. Someone will tell us.
Someone will tell us, surely. It will only get better. But that is one of the distinctions also, like we talked about maybe before, on whether you think you need some professional help to get yourself out of a deep funk. Because if you're getting into that mindset where you just go, this won't change, it's never going to get better, as opposed to what we're talking about, maybe getting into a bit of a funk, bit of a flat spot, and understanding that there are some things that you can also do to shift yourself out of that. And maybe we can talk through a few of these now. And they'll apply to everything, but there are times when sometimes you just need to talk to someone who knows what they're talking about.
One of my favourite things to do when I'm in a funk is actually just wallow in it for a little while. And I don't know because funks are reasonably rare for me, as much as I hate them, I also sort of enjoy them because it reminds me that I have feelings. And sometimes I get into this I have feelings a lot in terms of energy and love and passion and purpose and all that. I don't often have bad, nasty negative feelings. So when I do, sometimes I go, oh, human, have a feeling. This is great. And so, but what I noticed yesterday that I thought might have been unhelpful in terms of enjoying the funk is I love that song. This is to do with my work life, not my personal life. I was feeling a bit underappreciated by the people that I work with. And so if you're listening to me, come on. And so I was thinking about it, and so I thought, I love that Prince song, I Can't Make You Love Me. So I listened to that. I can't make you love me, you assholes. And then I thought, I'll listen to the Bonnie Raitt version of it because I quite like the Bonnie Raitt version of it. And then, of course, Apple and Spotify now, they give you every version of it. So I listened to Teeks, who's a beautiful Māori singer here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. He sung it. That was beautiful. Stan Walker and Jenny Blackmore do a version of it. That was beautiful. And after I'd listened to about 5 or 6 versions, I was like, okay, that was good, and now I have to stop. So I don't think the instant that you feel funky, you go, oh, funky's bad, I've got to get out of it. It's really useful to notice what is it telling you. And it was telling me I was tired. It was telling me that I needed to fill my cup. My cup's been emptied a bit lately. But I also love that thing that Dr. Lucy Hone teaches us, and she's taught it about positive psychology and resilience, that when we find ourselves in what could be destructive patterns or doing activities that are bringing us down, to say, is this helping or is this harming? And probably the first 3 times of that song, it was helping. It was cathartic. I was having a wee cry and kind of letting the emotion out. And that's good because when I keep the emotion in, it gives me cancer. So letting it out was great. But then I needed to recognize that by about 5 or 6, it was actually just starting to be harmful. And so I needed to stop and take new action. And I think that's a really useful thing. Stay in the funk while it can teach you something about the situation, and then ask yourself, is what you're doing helping or harming?
Yeah. And then we could probably look at and these are just the cliche ones that everybody's heard a million times before, but they do work. And that is the power of just moving and eating well. And exercise and nutrition are such a strong motivator to change the way that you're thinking. Exercise tells your brain that your behavior matters. Nutrition feeds your body in such an important way. And I think when you do those two things together, and it doesn't have to be massive, it can just be small things, but just doing something. Like yesterday, I didn't do any exercise, and I'd planned to do some, and I just got busy.
I didn't want to say you just...
I know, I'm literally falling apart. And at the end of the day, I was frustrated with myself because I was like, well, I just didn't even do what I said I was going to do. This morning, I was like, I'm not even looking at my email. I'm getting up and I'm just going for walks. The first thing I'm going to do. And I've just felt so much better for the rest of the day. I didn't particularly enjoy the walk. It was a bit rainy, but I listened to a podcast and I don't know, I wasn't in the mood for it.
Was it our podcast? Did you listen to
did
us?
The other day. I listened to a podcast and I loved it. And I was like, oh, this is why we do it.
I'm worried, sorry, I should interrupt you one more time, but I'm worried that as our download count goes up, it's just you and me.
It's brilliant. But when I got back, after starting and not really enjoying it, when I got back, I was just so pleased that I did it, and it has set me up really well for the rest of the day. But I know it won't last. I need to do it again tomorrow. I need to do something. I need to, make a positive choice with nutrition tonight, all of that stuff, but small things. Don't try to go, well, I'm just going to go do a high intensity workout. If it's just going down to the park, walking around the block and walking back up the drive, that is a good step. It doesn't have to be the biggest, hardest workout you've ever done in your life.
So what I love about what you're saying is a couple of things. One is don't wait for the feeling to come. Just do it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not about, do I feel like going for a walk? It's like, no, I don't, but I'm going to go for a walk anyway. In spite or despite how I feel, I'm off. And so your commitment to yourself is to do that. And then at the end of that walk, you say, and how do I feel now? So in terms of not trusting how you feel when you get into the funk, take some action, and then you'll be able to know, was this a temporary funk, or are you needing to take some more urgent or more serious action? But I do have a little theory about nutrition.
Okay.
And I'm going to share it with you.
All right.
I mean, this funk that I was in yesterday, I've never been that funky before. And I suspect I might have crashed my own body. So I'll tell you about it. Because you know that in 2 days' time I'm leaving New Zealand and going to America, which at this time feels kind of scary. I'm leaving the relatively COVID-free island and I'm off into the hot spot. So there's lots of tests that I have to take and lots of advice from people about boosting my immunity. And I'm like, yes, I need to boost my immunity. So I've been to the health food shop and I've got high-dose vitamin C, vitamin D, B12, a whole bunch of stuff. That zinc, it's all going to help me. So I thought I better take it before I leave and make sure that I'm not allergic to it or anything. So on, I don't know, Saturday, Sunday, one of those days, I took all of those vitamins. Woohoo. Then the next day I did Rainbow Wheeze.
Rainbow Wheeze.
And then the next day I didn't take anything.
Yeah.
So I wonder if what's happened, maybe my funk is I've crashed. I've crashed from having so much goodness and being so la la la. And that might sound crazy, but if you're a chick, and I've said this before, we can go through really flat times, have really destructive thoughts, be emotional and angry, and then 2 days later get our period and go, oh, that's what all that was about, and not recognize it.
Yeah.
And so I think it is really useful just to check in with your body chemistry and go, can I trust how I'm feeling mentally now, because maybe I'm hormonally out of whack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what Camille talked about when we interviewed her, is tracking your cycle and understanding where your mood changes and the effects that it has. But I love that you were literally like a vitamin heroin junkie, probably coming down off the highest ride, and then you just hit the low. The secret now is, well, are you going to get back on the pills and jack yourself back up?
So now what, right? Yeah, 100%. That's mine. And the other thing, and you can laugh all you want, but on the day that I was really flat, I didn't have any coffee.
Yeah.
And that might explain everything. It wasn't on purpose. It just, we went, Hamilton went into another lockdown. And so I didn't go to my local coffee shop. So this morning, the first action I took, I got out of bed, I washed, which is new. That's part of self-care. I washed, and then I went in and I grabbed a coffee because I thought I need to eliminate all the possible causes. If it turns out that my funk is because I have lived the wrong life and I need to make some existential changes, well, then we're going to determine that, but not before I've walked and caffeined my way into a more buoyant mood.
Yeah, at least get yourself to the point where you're breathing and you've got a pulse and you're thinking straight.
That's it, exactly.
It was interesting with Facebook and Instagram going down today, because that was kind of like a forced digital detox, which is another thing that we know is one of the things that can be helpful for us, because I think a little bit of light social media can sometimes, make you feel a little bit better in the moment. But the moment you start going down that digital rabbit hole, or you've just been on there swiping away and suddenly you realize, oh my goodness, because I don't think people jump on Instagram and all of those kind of platforms and kind of walk away after an hour feeling better about themselves often, So it can be things that just suck you in and feel like you're wasting your time. So maybe a little bit of break from social media might be something that you can do to, I don't know, get out of a funk.
So what I think is interesting about that is on Twitter, I had 4 or 5 of my friends followed me on Twitter today. And I just went back to them and said, no, you guys need help. It's because you've been unable to access Facebook and Instagram, which I hardly ever use, but you've gone, so maybe you've gone on to another connection. Yeah. Why today? And I knew exactly why. And I said, go away. I've been on Twitter for 7 years. You have not been remotely interested. Later. Don't join now. You'll only be disappointed. But that, I hope, to them was this recognition that they were in some kind of, panic mode. The other thing that I'm really happy to admit to, and I don't know if it's true for you, Ish, but reasonably regularly, at least once a week, I lose feeling in my hands. Does that happen to you?
No, not at that level.
Okay. So I think it's because I scroll in the morning and maybe the circulation isn't in my fingers or whatever, or at night. So Chris will read in bed and I'll just scroll at night and then my thumbs go numb or they get pins and needles. I mean, you're judging me now.
I'm not judging you. I'm not, because I know exactly what it's like when you're trying to do the 2-screen thing. You're watching TV and you're on another device. I am really good at not charging my device in my bedroom. That's one of the things that I have.
Do you have a TV in your bedroom?
Yes, we definitely have a TV.
So superiority comes now to Sasha and Chris.
But we don't watch it at night, though. We only watch it in the morning when we're watching...
Praise be.
Praise be. HGTV on a Saturday morning. Oh, it's great. I love that kind of property show,
Wow.
Well, I'm also on my phone, Sasha.
Wow. We do not have the TV in our bedroom.
Well, that's because you're taped up.
Yeah, that too. We're making our own entertainment.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard that one, you should definitely go back and listen to that episode. What else, Sash? What else is a way to maybe get yourself out of a funk or things that you find useful?
Well, I think totally naming it is useful. So it wasn't just you that I wired to yesterday. I also texted another friend and I said, I'm flat as a pancake. And they sent me a really encouraging message. And I could tell I was in a funk because as I read the message, I was like, yeah, well, you would say that. It's not even true. You just said I'm amazing. I'm not. I'm useless. And so recognizing that, but it was still really lovely to have that. And I rang a work colleague this morning and I said, look, this is how I'm feeling. I'm going to get some coffee. I'll call you after my coffee and I'll let you know if I still feel that way. And he said, and I'm going to call you in half an hour as well to check in on you.
That's
and
great.
Just letting people know that you're in a funk means that hopefully they will check in with you over the next little period of time so that if you're not getting better, they can help be a voice that says you need more help than what you're accessing right now.
Yeah. And honestly, within that vulnerability of sharing that stuff, it's really helpful because I think sometimes we look at people and go, well, they never get like that. But actually, lots of people get like that.
Totally. I mean, he said to me, the reason no one checks up on you is that you're just this power shield, right?
Mm.
And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And as soon as he said that, I said, you're right. And I want to crush any weakness now.
You are the missing Avenger. It is true.
What we also got to be really careful of is, I want to be so careful how I say this, is the way that we can get a payoff from telling people how flat we are, and to be really careful that we're not emotionally manipulating them with our troubles. And that's tough to say because I do not want anyone to not ask for help or to share their troubles. But even as I was sharing my troubles today and yesterday, I heard how much love I got, and I was tempted just to start playing with it, just to send the odd text that in a kind of a humorous way. And I thought, no, actually, no, you can't mess around with this. It's not fair on other people. You just have to be really clean and clear with your attention. And there's not a magic number of times. So you can't say, well, I've told Ish 3 times in the last month that I'm feeling flat, so I've used up my times. If each time you are genuine and are looking just for someone to know and have your back, then you go for it.
So what about just if you're kind of in a funk because it's nothing major, it's just more you just want to change things up. You just want some variety. It feels like Groundhog Day, right? Maybe there's an opportunity to try and reinvent yourself or reinvent some of the things that you do.
I was just about to say go shopping.
Yeah.
Get more stuff. But in actual fact, I think the reverse is true. When you're in that funk, one of the practical things you can do, and I hate myself as I'm saying this, is like tidy something up. Like clean out a kitchen cupboard or do a drawer, do your linen cupboard, go through your undie drawer, whatever it is that just has that physical sensation of decluttering and fresh startness. And I think that can be really cathartic. And it's sort of a powerful metaphor for getting rid of the junk, unfunk, get rid of your junk.
Oh.
It's that kind of, there's a bumper sticker.
Or a t-shirt. In that reinventing yourself, though, you could ask yourself some questions like, what do I want to be? Like, if I'm not happy...
Pretty. I want to
All
be
right,
pretty.
cool. Okay, so we'll put that down. And then what would I need to do in order to make that happen? Well, Sash, first of all, you need to change your perspective because you are pretty.
We'll be right back.
If there was one skill that could double your income, advance your career, and increase your ability to influence, it is the skill of presenting. Whether it's on stage, in the boardroom, or at a job interview, the 30-Minute Presenter program will help take you to the next level. So check out our Instagram page, click the link in the bio, and get started on the 30-Minute Presenter program.
Thanks. It was a bit slow, but took a long time to come.
I was wrapping it into the second part.
Thank you.
And then then the next part is what can I do right now? Like, what can I do right now? Just one step towards that. And this is that whole thing. It's like recognizing, okay, this is where I want to be. This is what it will take to get there. And this is my first step in that direction. And that's back to your point earlier.
I love that. That's that Gilbert Enoka, the All Black mental skills coach. That's that gap analysis. Where am I now? Where's the next place I want to be, and how do I bridge that gap? Keep it really simple. Here's where I am now. Here's where I need to be. What am I going to do to bridge the gap?
Yeah, because no amount of shopping online is going to get you there.
See, the other thing that I love about behaviour change, and we may have discussed this before, it's kind of a Tony Robbins and a psychologist, not just the hype man. It's a concept that says just start behaving like that person, even if you're not that person yet. So they say that when you're giving up smoking, for example, finish your cigarette and then just say, I'm a non-smoker now. I'm just a non-smoker, and behave like a non-smoker. So one of the things that non-smokers do is they don't buy cigarettes. So when you go into the shop and you go, I'm in a dairy, what do non-smokers do? They buy bread and milk, so do that. And that's kind of oversimplifying a chemical addiction to nicotine. But it's quite a useful sort of frame of reference. If you go, oh, look, I'm a successful go-getting professional person now. Even if a minute ago you weren't, you say, if that's who I am now, what would I do? Oh, well, I'd get enough sleep at night. I'd get a to-do list. And you start doing those things that if it was true, that's what you'd do. I'm an Olympic athlete. What does that mean I'll have for dinner? And it's going to be not the crap that you otherwise would have eaten. You're laughing, but can you not see the genius?
Absolutely. Well, I think those little mind shift changes, if you do them constantly enough, you're going to start reprogramming yourself.
You're going to unfunk yourself, aren't you?
You're going to unfunk yourself. So there's a few things we can do to start to unfunk ourselves. First of all is recognise that we might be in a funk and then think, what can I do to shift myself? And that might be, first of all, talk to someone and get an outside perspective, whether that's a friend, someone who does some coaching with you, or if you need it, step up and get some therapy. Do some movement, eat a little bit better. It doesn't have to be massive change. Digital detox. Don't wait for Facebook to force itself to shut down. Let's just stay off digital for a little while and stay out of social media, and maybe reinvent yourself from time to time and think about where you want to be and change that mindset as much as you can.
Yeah, know that this too will pass. Ask yourself, is the action you are taking helping or harming you? Indulge yourself for 5 minutes of enjoying the funk if that's what you need, and then take some steps to get out of it.
So I feel it would be a miss for us not to talk about the number one trending show on Netflix at the moment, Squid Game.
Yes, I've watched episode 1.
Oh, have you? Yeah. Did you watch it with the subtitles on, or did you watch it with a voiceover?
I watched it with the voiceover, and it was too late at night for me. Normally, I much prefer to watch it with subtitles. I have heard some criticism from some Korean speakers that the translation is terrible. And that even if you're really enjoying Squid Game, if you understand Korean, it works on so many more levels than it does with the translation. I mean, how many episodes are you in? I would have thought it was not your cup of tea-ish at all.
Well, I've watched number 1 at the moment because, I kind of like all that Hunger Games kind of stuff. So I've only watched episode 1 so far. And I didn't watch it with the voiceover, and I just watched it with the subtitles. And it was because apparently they've said the guy's voice and style of acting actually changes, and you don't notice it as much with the voiceover. So they said watch it with the subtitles, which I really find hard because I am not a fast reader, as you know. And so I am rambling to read the words and then watch the pictures and stuff. But I did really enjoy it last night, and I watched it with my youngest daughter, Emma. Who hates that stuff? I know, who hates it, who for some reason actually went, I might need to watch the whole thing, and watched it with Jo as well, and she quite enjoyed it.
That surprises me, because I reckon if you look at our families, you guys, for a whole lot of reasons, which I respect, are way stricter about stuff, and for us that horse is bolted. And so when Portia said she wanted to watch it, I'm like, I'm not sure if this is the one for you, babe, because you can't get that stuff out of your head once it's in. And I actually had this thought, what would Ish do? There's no way Ish would be letting his girls watch it. And there you are. Wow.
I know. Well, it didn't set up like that. She kind of came in and went, is that Squid Game? And I went, yeah. I said, do you want to watch it? She goes, nah. And then she sat down with her phone, and next minute she's like, I might need to watch it all.
The whole thing about spoiler alerts, right? I can just tell you it's really violent. It's incredibly violent. So I'm surprised, but maybe for you it's sufficiently not real.
Yeah, it feels really fake.
Yeah, whereas if you'd watch Hostel, it's Hostel and Hunger Games combined, and so no.
Right,
okay.
Yeah.
Good. Right.
Good.
The thing that I do is that I have read ahead all the episode and descriptions now, so I know exactly what happens. So I probably don't need to watch the rest of it. I've probably had enough blood and guts of Squid Game. What's fascinating, I think, from a societal perspective is that Ted Lasso has come out and everyone is saying, this is the television we are all hungry for. We want leadership, and we want warmth and wholehearted and love and forgiveness and compassion and redemption, and this is the future of television. Give us this. And then Squid Game comes out and smashes every single record in history, and it's clear that what society wants is just a program where nearly everybody dies.
Yeah. Well, apparently, back through history, the horror movies, zombie movies, all these kind of ones boom in times of economic unrest, uncertainty, depression, economic depression. Those are when the horror movies do their best. And then the times where things are going really great, it's not like that. So it is really interesting that both, like you said, Ted Lasso and Squid Game are just dominating. I think it's depending on where your mental health is where you gravitate to. But on your point before, I know I'll have to pace it, because if I binge it, I won't be able to handle it. But if I pace it out, then I'll be able to, I'll be able
try
to
some Anne of Green Gables as well.
All right, just quickly before we go, Sash, how are you feeling about going to Harvard in a couple of days?
Oh, well, you know what? I am so excited about that intellectually, and how I feel about it as a mix of all kinds of things. So I suspect if you were my therapist, you'd be saying it's no wonder you feel a bit flat or discombobulated. So because Hamilton's gone into level 3 suddenly now, it means our middle child, my eldest son, is not coming home, and I won't see him before I go. That makes me sad. But I understand why, and I don't want him to be have any, I don't want him to come home just for me, right? So there's that. Then I know that it's going to worry my parents. My parents are really worried about it, and I haven't even told them yet that Harvard Business School is at the centre of a massive Delta outbreak. They'll hear that when they listen to this, and hopefully that's about 5 weeks after I'm back. And then there's a whole lot just to even do the travel. There's so much stuff you've got to do now, pre-departure tests and forms, and it's not quite as straightforward as what it might otherwise have been. And it looks like my requested upgrade to business class isn't going to come through. So, but the idea that I have this opportunity to break out of what we're in at the moment, that just feels exhilarating. I'm so ready to have some stuff coming into my cup, and I feel enormously grateful for that privilege and opportunity. So yeehaw, we will record from Harvard. We'll be coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts, if I haven't died.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.